Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Hey guys, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to stay in a hostel. In this video, I'm going to tell you my full, honest, unfiltered experience about staying in a hostel for the first time in my life in Paris. I stayed at a place called the Bercy in the 12th district of Paris. And let me just tell you, I don't know what I was thinking it was gonna be, but it was nothing like I expected in the best way possible. If you've never stayed in a hostel before, this video is for you. I'm gonna tell you all about it. I'm gonna tell you what it's like. I would have loved to watch a video talking about the hostel life before I actually stayed at one, and I was like, why don't I just make one? Just so you can sort of get a feel. Every hostel is different, but I'll tell you my experience, and if you guys ever have any questions throughout this video, leave it in the comments down below and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. If you're interested about solo travel or traveling on a budget, keep watching because I'm gonna tell you all about it. All right, first things first, my arrival. This was actually my first time in Europe. I was so excited, but also insanely jet lagged. I got to my hostel around noon, but check-in wasn't until like 3 p.m. Thank goodness that they let me keep my bags there. So I just dropped off my bags and then went to explore the city until my bed was ready. Because this was my first time staying in a hostel and I literally had no idea what to expect. I've never talked to anyone that stayed at one. I never researched it or anything before. I was going in blind, and because of that, I did pay a little extra each night to be in an all-female dorm. The hostel that I stayed at, you could either pick from a mixed dorm, which was a little cheaper each night, or an all-female dorm. And I'm so glad that I picked the all-female. Like, guys, I felt so comfortable the whole time. I'll get more into that later. And also, I just went to Florence recently and I stayed in a mixed dorm. So I have the view of each. And let me tell you, all-female for the win. Woman for the win. Come on. Like, we knew that. But by the time I booked my Florence hostel, the female dorms were already full. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll do a whole separate video on my Florence hostel experience, but let me refocus. This is a video about my first ever hostel experience, and I'm just so excited to tell you guys literally everything. Okay, so I stayed in 2 different rooms while I was there because I was there for 2 weeks. The maximum stay of this place was 5 nights. You already know I played dumb. The girl was like, you're staying more nights than you're allowed. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And she was like, it's okay, but after this, you are not coming back. And I was like, damn. Wait, that sounds bad. She phrased it as you can't add more nights to your stay because you're already staying way longer than you can. And I read that on the website too, but I just decided to ignore it. I was like, what are they gonna do? And then they kind of confronted me about it. But honestly, stuff like that doesn't even matter. Let's be real. I made such good friends with the people at the desk during my stay. I literally loved all of them. They were so cool because they could speak so many different languages and talk to literally everyone there. Anyway, so I booked one room for 5 nights and then I booked another room for 5 nights. So the first room that I went in had 6 beds and the second one that I went in had 8 beds. In each room though, there were sets of bunk beds. So you could either be top or bottom bunk. It was randomly assigned when you checked in. Thank God in both of my rooms, I was the bottom bunk. It just made it so much easier to actually get ready in the morning or use the bathroom. You don't have to be climbing a ladder. Anyway, let me give you a little taste of the layout. Each bed had their own little blackout curtain, which was so amazing. It felt like you had your little own room inside of the room. You know what I mean? So good for privacy, so good for sleeping. There were obviously main lights in the room, but in your bed, you had your own little personal light that you could dim or turn fully bright. I don't know why I loved that. Before bed, I would just dim my light a little. Each bed also had a mini locker above that you could only open with your key card, so it was kind of nice. I would leave my important stuff in there. And next to that locker, there were 2 separate shelves where I put my toiletries or charged my phone. There was an outlet in each one. And then there was the tiniest mirror ever, but I actually used her every morning to get ready, so it was amazing. The setup of the curtain with the bed, it kind of felt like I had my own little room. I literally loved it. It made me feel like I had my own little space, and honestly, it felt so cozy, like a tiny room within a room. My bed was actually super comfortable. It came with a sheet, a comforter, and a pillow. There was one room with a toilet in it, and then one room with a shower and a sink in it. It was kind of weird, but there was never a time where I was like, oh, this person's in the bathroom, or ugh, this person's in the shower. Like, it kind of worked out even with 8 people in one room. The shower did have a timer. As soon as you step foot into the shower, you flip this hourglass and there's 3 inside of it. The first one was green and that was 3 minutes, and then the second one was yellow and that was 5 minutes, and then the last one was red and it was 7 minutes, kind of saying like, you need to get out of the shower. The hostel provided toilet paper and body wash / shampoo. It was probably like a 5-in-1, I don't even know. Again, every hostel is different, but the one that I stayed at, you could go grab a towel downstairs, but you had to leave some form of ID or cash just so they know that you're not stealing the towel and you're actually going to exchange it back for your stuff, which was kind of smart of them. Like, okay. One of my favorite things about this hostel was that people came into your room to clean it daily. Oh my gosh, that was absolutely beautiful and amazing. There were definitely a few times where I stayed out late, so I slept in till the next day and was literally woken up by one of the workers vacuuming our room. The shower and the bathroom being cleaned daily was so amazing. I think I got lucky with that hostel of how clean it was, because I don't think they're all like that, but I loved it so much and it made me feel so much more comfortable throughout my stay. I mainly got ready in my bed with that little mirror, but sometimes I needed to go by the sink to do my hair because I'd be trying to do like a slick high bun and just hitting my elbows on the top bunk. Honestly, whenever I was getting ready, people were either sleeping or already out for the day, so I kind of lucked out with that too. It definitely took a little bit longer to get ready each day because I was moving a little slow. I didn't want to wake anyone up. It was very quiet. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but I feel like because it was a city hostel, people really only use it to sleep and then they're out exploring the city all day. Whereas in other places, the hostel is like the main event. Like, that's the party, the community where you meet people. The whole vibe of this hostel that I stayed at was so chill. It was peaceful and quiet, which I honestly loved because I was exploring the city the whole day. The only time that I came back to the hostel was to change or to sleep. Whenever a new person would come in the room, people would say things like, where are you from? How long have you been traveling? And then just kind of go do their own thing after that. Like, there was an introduction, but it wasn't like, oh, let's go do this together. It wasn't a party hostel. It felt more like a place to recharge, a place to go to sleep, shower, store your stuff while you're out and exploring the city all day. I loved it. At least for my first experience, I think it was absolutely perfect. There was also a little balcony, and sometimes I'd eat breakfast out there or watch the sunrise. It was so cute and peaceful and amazing. I did meet some really cool people there. Everyone had different stories. Some were backpacking across Europe, or some have been traveling for months and they were just making a pit stop at Paris. There was this one girl that gave me some chocolate that she bought in Amsterdam, and it was the cutest thing ever. We shared a chocolate bar. Oh my gosh, I want to cry thinking about it. There was this older woman who was solo traveling by herself, and it was so inspiring. It actually made me emotional. Like, she was just out there traveling the world by herself, wasn't letting anything stop her. Hostel life makes you realize how many ways there are to live a life. Like, just because she was older, I'm talking like 70. Like, I don't even know. I'm also bad with ages, so maybe she was younger, maybe she was older. But the fact that she was just in a foreign city by herself, exploring it, living her life, that was just like actually amazing. I had some of the best nights of sleep of my life at this hostel, and I don't even know why. I think I was spending so much time exploring new places and walking around that by the time I got back to the hostel, I literally crashed. I did bring an eye mask, and I would strongly recommend that because people can control the lights however they want. So say you're going to bed and no one else is in the hostel, you can turn them off, but as soon as people come back, they're going to turn them on. And the beds did have blackout curtains, but obviously when the light's on, you can kind of see it through the cracks and stuff, and I love it pitch black when I sleep. So I loved my eye mask. It literally made me knock the second I put it on. I only wore my headphones to bed once because usually it's quiet and you can just fall asleep, but there was one night that I woke up to someone throwing up in the bathroom, which was low-key an awful sound to wake up to, but I just told myself someone drank too much, they were having too much fun. So I put my headphones on, listened to some Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, and then I went straight back to bed. And then the morning came and I found out that the person was actually sick. I felt so bad. They looked like they were on their deathbed. But hey, I didn't get sick, praise the Lord. I'm remembering stuff as I talk about it, so just bear with me. But another thing about the layout is that each person had their own locker labeled with a letter. You were given a letter when you checked into the hostel, and that was the letter of the bed that you had and the locker you had. You had to bring your own lock, which thankfully I did. Basically everything that I brought fit in my locker besides my giant suitcase of clothes that I brought. Oh my gosh, I'll get to that later. So most of my stuff was locked up, and then I just had a big suitcase of clothes that I just didn't lock or anything, but no one steals your stuff. Like, it's super chill. I obviously locked up like my laptop, my passport, passport, all that stuff. But for clothes, like I just left my suitcase there. And so did a lot of people. The lockers were kind of small, so everyone kind of had a suitcase outside of the locker too. And it's just like an understanding that you don't touch other people's stuff. I just love hostels because it's like, it's just people trying to travel for cheap. Like no one really has a dark motive. Or maybe that's just a naive way of thinking, but at least for my all-woman room, they all ate. I literally love women. They were great. There were a few shelves in the bathroom, so I put like my shampoo and my conditioner there. And I don't think anyone touched it the whole trip. If they did, I literally could care less. As long as you lock up your important stuff, no one's really gonna touch it. And if you're really worried about that, don't stay at a hostel. Like, I don't know. I'm laughing. I just don't like when people assume the worst in people. Like when they hear you're staying at a hostel and it's like, oh, you're gonna die. Like, you're not gonna die. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just people traveling the world. Like, come on. My golden advice for a hostel is to pack light. I am a chronic overpacker. I overpacked so bad. I brought 4 pairs of heels. 4 in Paris, a city where you walk around. Staying in a hostel where you have negative room, like what was I thinking? I brought dresses, scarves, a full skincare routine, accessories, stuff that I literally didn't even touch. Like I didn't even touch half of the products I brought. Even my makeup, I only wore like 3 of the things and I brought a full face of makeup. Hostel life is minimal. The more you have, the more it takes up space in the actual hostel and you feel like you're kind of scattered, and it also takes up space in your mind knowing that you have so much at the hostel. Like just pack light. It will make you feel so much lighter, so much better. You're not even going to touch half of the stuff, I swear. If you don't know if you're going to use it, don't bring it, because the chances are you're not going to, and it's just going to sit there and take up real estate in the space and in your mind. Also, when packing, remember that you can literally buy stuff there. I don't know why we forget to think about that. Like we need to have everything and everything needs to be ready. You can find stuff there. If it's that important, they're going to have it there. You know what I mean? I didn't bring any shower stuff and I just bought it when I was actually there, and that way it saves space in my suitcase. And then I was very minimal in the products that I bought because I knew that I wasn't going to take them home. As far as the communal areas in this hostel, there was a communal kitchen, there was a little bar when you walked in, a foosball table, there was a rooftop, but I went when it was really cold out, so no one was really hanging out there. There were couches and then tables where people could eat. There was a little outside area that had more seating, but again, it was freezing out, so no one really went out there. By the couches was this bookshelf with just like a million books. It was so cute. I should have read one. I totally didn't. The kitchen was great. It had a microwave, an electric kettle, a stove, an oven. The fridge situation was cool. You had to label your food with your name and your checkout date. And at first I was like, oh my God, what if someone poisons my food? Like, girl, no one's gonna do that. You just kind of have to trust people. There was an option that you could pay a little bit more to get the hostel continental breakfast each morning, but I didn't do that because one of my favorite things in life is trying out cute little new cafes and brunch spots. So I didn't do the breakfast option because I was in Paris. I wanted to explore all of the different places. There was an option where you could pay like €8 the night before to get the breakfast in the morning. I should have done that at least once, but I didn't. Anyway, I could talk about this experience, this hostel life, literally forever. It was so cool. I loved it. I loved it. Please ask questions down below. I'll answer whatever you guys got. Hostel life made me so grateful for everyday things that I take advantage of. Like when I'm home, I don't have to label my food before I put it in the fridge. I can just put food in the fridge. It's awesome. I have my own full-size bed in the hostel. They were twin beds and they were super comfortable, but like I missed being able to just sprawl out on my bed. I literally have my own room. I have my own bedroom. I don't have to share it with 8 people. Not that it was like horrible, but like I don't have to be quiet while getting ready. I can play music. I can do whatever I want in my room. Like I'm not sharing it. I don't have to share a toilet with 8 people. I don't have to share a shower with 8 people. Like, oh my gosh, I was taking these things for granted. I absolutely love stuff like that like wakes you up and makes you realize how lucky you are and how amazing of a life you have. Staying in a hostel made me feel so good about myself. Like I was so capable. Like I'm adventurous. I'm independent. If you're nervous about staying in a hostel, especially solo, let me just change your perspective really quick. Everyone is just on their own path, exploring the world in their own way. It's so cute. Like, hostel life isn't scary. It's actually super inspiring. You meet new people, you learn new things, you laugh, you grow, you feel proud of yourself, you realize how grateful you are for your everyday life. Honestly, it's an experience that I think everyone should have. Remember, you are in control of how your life plays out. Do what you want, do what makes you happy, smile. I don't know, you got it. I'll catch you guys in Wednesday's video. Bye guys, love you.